Well, hello there. Welcome to my second Community Fortress delve. This one is Dellwork, submitted by Ergotofwhy. Dellwork was submitted during a transition from a surface level fortress down to below the third cavern level. Lots of the space has been carved out and not filled in yet, and I'm told the fortress lived on for 20 more years very prosperously until it was retired. Oh, and shout out to Ortanar the Harrower, the gladiator that Ergot managed, who unfortunately succumbed to that slithering serpent in the last gladiator tournament. Anyway, let's get into it. This is the F1 wagon embark area. Of course, the wagon seems to have been deconstructed. There's a lot of rooms up here. This must have been early fortress bedrooms or something of that sort that's recently been abandoned. Do they have roofs? No, I don't believe that had any roofs. Interesting, actually. So then it couldn't have been bedrooms. I believe there's some notes from Ergotofwhy. Okay, the upper levels were the first home, and the lower levels is the true fortress, where his people's history is carved into the ceiling of the grand chamber. Carved into the ceiling? How does that work? Let's find out. Going down just one level, we can see some obvious remnants of, there's Craftsdwarf's workshops, of production areas. We've got the trade depot, of course. I don't believe I saw another trade depot, so this may still be the primary trade depot. If I do this, we can see, in fact, that there is no depot access lower than this. So this is, in fact, still the trade depot. We have, of course, a refuse stockpile. This is pretty self-explanatory. Here we have, what is this, a crocodile cave crawler. That's right. Wow, there's a history of chinchillas here. Let's go ahead and take this opportunity to look at the animals tab, since we have a farm of some sort happening. I guess not. I guess like just a bunch of chinchillas died, or maybe there were chinchillas once upon a time. The animal menu does show a lot of cats. A dangerous number of cats, in fact. So it appears that the animal industry in this fort is pretty much just whatever people brought, and cats. Not much for animals. Is this also, before we go, just corpses and stuff? Yes. So 2 giant refuse stockpiles. This bridge here, perhaps that's a bridge for destroying things? An atom smasher? You can see here that lots of stuff exists on this bridge, so perhaps that is the case. That is empty, possibly an old barracks. This is all emptied out, so I imagine we're looking at a tavern and offices. Is this a kitchen? Yes, that's a kitchen. So down here we have a stockpile for ammo, coins, finished goods of all kinds, and that's it. So this stockpile is just a stockpile for everything. This stockpile is enormous. Holy crap, that's an incredible stockpile. That's huge. Okay, moving forward before I get dizzy and faint over the size of these stockpiles. We have still 2 very large, but not as legendarily large stockpiles for wood. We got charcoal, more charcoal. So this was probably all wood burners. Then we have the smelters themselves here, followed by carpenter's workshops here. I really like this organization pattern here. I mean, the size of these wood stockpiles is just, they're just so big, but still is very smart. Okay, we got rock blocks. Holy cow. What are these? All olivine. So we got tons of olivine, probably masonry shops down here. Abandoned, 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 abandoned. I'm really curious about the food situation. I'm also curious what smithing looks like nowadays in this fort. Lots of dwarves carrying things. There must be a transition in progress, and I'm sure that these are security bridges or something like that. Maybe not. I didn't see any levers. Well, there's a lever. Okay, so we got a lever here. We've got an entrance to the caverns with a bridge here. So that locks up these caverns, the top level. So here we have an entrance that goes even deeper. This is a very deep fortress below the third cavern layer. That is quite deep. Now we have here some stockpiles. Let's take a look. This is an armor stockpile. It is for armor of all materials. Okay. And this is a stockpile for weapons of all materials. I usually separate out my clothes from my armor because that way I can sort of tell more easily what I have too much of and what I don't have enough of. So quite an ornate ceiling, and it actually takes a lot of work to do something like this. This is something worth appreciating. This ceiling being conical and moving out away from this central staircase means a lot of scaffolding must have been made and destroyed in order to engrave all of these walls and then remain with just this central staircase. All right, and here we have a very starburst fortress, a design I've never seen before, actually. As awesome as this is, I can just imagine the time spent walking by the dwarves who have to, the poor bastards who have to live up here. But that's okay. They're probably just haulers or something. Down here we have, this is a dorm, let's find out. Yes, no, this doesn't appear to be designated as anything. This is a hospital. That's what that is. It's not a dormitory, it's a hospital. Okay. And let's see what's in the hospital. What do we got? We got more than enough thread, plenty of cloth. These are default values if I recall correctly, but whatever. A couple of buckets. Ooh, powder for casts. Neat. I never do that. There's 140 dwarves, so maybe stands to need a little bit more in the hospital, but if it's full, then it's pretty good. And there's nothing else in the bedrooms. I tend to put things that are really awesome, like artifacts and stuff, in their own bedrooms. This stockpile, another massive award-winning stockpile, only hurts my soul a little bit, but it's another one of those things where as long as your frame rate is doing okay and you don't mind a little extra walking, I guess I can't be that upset. This contains furniture and siege ammo, and it just contains all of it. I imagine maybe that's there because currently these bedrooms are being built, and so keeping the furniture here would make it faster to get into the bedrooms. Let's take a look up here. Now we've got bars. We got charcoal and metal in the same stockpile. Do I sense a generic bar stockpile? No, I do not sense this. This is strictly for metal bars. That charcoal is a mistake. We've got a couple bins up here. This is interesting. A stockpile this size does not need bins. The maximum bins here is set for 1 per square, so 785 bins. I would certainly not have any bins allowed in such a stockpile. Is this adamantine? It is raw adamantine. This fortress is quite grand. We haven't seen any metal production though. That's strange. Perhaps they're done with it? I recall seeing some furnaces, but it was like 2. We'll find them in a minute. All right, so now we can talk about food since we're here at the farms. We have pigtails and quarry bushes and dimple cups on that plot. On this plot, we have cave wheat, sweet pods, and plump helmets. Here we have quarry bushes all year round, except nothing on winter. Sweet pods and plump helmets there. More plump helmets. Pigtails and sweet pods and plump helmets. Quarry bushes, dimple cups. And that's it for that one. Cave wheat, sweet pods, and dimple cups. Okay, so cave wheat's fun. I like cave wheat. Milling plants has become sort of a must-have for my forts, and this fortress has a ton of farm. Holy crap! I'm scared. I'm gonna look in the kitchen menu now. But I'm honestly frightened of what I'm going to find. Okay. Well, these numbers aren't horrifying, but there's no bookkeeper. Oh boy, okay. I always said a bookkeeper right away. Oof. Let me just say right now, I am obsessive about all of the things that this fort, doesn't bother with, like the bookkeeping. But that said, if it works, it works. Okay, so this is a stockpile here. Here we have pigtails and cave wheat. Pigtails in the same place as all of the food. Okay, where are the kitchens? Below that is nothing more than additional water storage and an empty room. Okay, so then we got another empty room below that. And now we've got some furniture here. So we got all of this. Dining room? No, not a dining room. This is enormous. Is there a zone here? There is a zone here. Okay, so it's a meeting area, but it has no assigned location. I'm pretty sure your dwarves will still gather there, but I would totally make a location for this. We have a couple locations. Okay, I wonder what those are. We only have 2, and they're both guild halls. We have 3 jewelers' workshops in this enormous gem stockpile. Again, with maximum bins. So much storage. All right, now we got the weird floor. And now we're starting to find some stuff. Those look like stills and kitchens to me right here. Let's see what Dellwork is up to. We got Magma Smelters, Magma Smelters, Magma Smelters. Very cool. Very cool. Magma Smelters are badass. I don't actually do them very often, but I should because I like them. We got 6 masonry workshops, and then I feel like these should be arranged in a ring, right? And not all up in the top. So normally I say like, whatever, this is not going to make a big deal in terms of your fort's efficiency or whatever. If you have a bigger stockpile or a smaller one, it's minor differences. But this is significant. Even if a dwarf were to take a rock from this stockpile, which isn't necessarily true, they could take a rock from anywhere in the fortress. There's no give or take links. They could accept the rock here and drag it all the way up here before starting their work, which would definitely put a dent in productivity. If you made a stockpile here, for example, and had that give to the workshop, then useless hauling dwarves would do all of that work. The actual mason would only have to leave maybe 3 steps from their workshop in order to get their materials. Moving on though, that's the masonry there. We have the Magma Smelters and the Magma Forges. This is awesome. I really like this. And this stockpile here does not contain metal ores. Where are the metal ores? This is just the food. Where are the metal ores? I guess the metal ores don't get stockpiled. They just get gathered up wherever they lay. Haulers really have an easy life in this fort. The haulers don't have to do anything. They just leave shit around, and then the crafters go grab it from the depths of the fortress and bring it all the way back to their workstation. I'm really surprised to not see a stockpile for metal ores, although maybe I just haven't found it yet. We'll see. Before we get to food, let's finish exploring the crafting. Here we have a cloth stockpile. That's just cloth. That makes sense. It's all of the cloths and threads. Here we have a leather stockpile that's just probably all leather. I don't know why people would... I mean, I suppose I would totally make a separate leather stockpile for like that special leather that I really like, but that's, not important. Bolts, arrows, so it's just ammo there. Okay. Why is ammo here? Am I missing something? Is there is ammo made here? Cloth, looms, leatherworks. We got leatherworks, we got looms. This is bizarre. Why is ammunition here? What is going on? I guess sheet belongs here, but ammo, I'm not sure. What were those old personality types, type A and type B, that probably mean nothing because someone in like the 90s came up with that nonsense? This is definitely a type B fort. 100% type B. Dellwork, make it happen. That's their slogan. Where are we gonna put it? Over there. What are the moods like? I'm gonna boot up Dwarf Therapist real quick. It's not going to show up for you, unfortunately, but I will just let you know that the moods in this fort are generally good, with the exception of one Era Lesastinthad. She's haggard and drawn. That's what's missing in this fort. All of the recreational stuff. Just like all of it. Like, there's not even a tavern. But it really does appear that this is being built out. Like, obviously, look at this. We got a giant mining order right here. So that's clearly being built out. This is dangerous right here. This, I mean, if a dwarf slips, what happens if this water breaks free? Who knows? Those up-down staircases that lead down to lava, those scare me. How many levels of water is this? I want to know. Here's the basement level, the furthest level deep. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 levels of water. What is it for? I want to open it up. There's levers right here. Let's see. They're not named, but I'm assuming they link to this. Anyway, what I forgot to look at, which I'm appalled that I forgot, is this screen. First of all, what's everybody's jobs like? Tons of storing items, which is no surprise. Now we're going to go to the manager menu. Oh boy. Okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, everybody. I'll be fine. There's no manager. I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice in the noble screen. There's no manager. Okay. Alright. Okay. That's fine. It's fine. We're fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend like I never came here. And that's the fort, everybody. Yeah. But, okay. But seriously, though, could definitely do with using more nobles in this fort. Yeah, you're right, Lawful Sus, that this fort is not like a failing fort. This fort is very prolific. Oh, and that's the other thing we need to look at. I almost forgot the other major part of Dwarf Fortress that's not industry, and that's the military. So in terms of the military, we have 3 full squads, and if we go to equipment and we go to priority assignments, we see that they have full steel on all of them. So there's no lack of security in this fortress either. So it's extremely secure. It is very productive. Even if it's not very productive for its population, it's still quite productive. And it's a bountiful fortress. And I mean, we're at the levels of adamantine. This is adamantine, just chilling out. The same way you would find like tetrahedrite. There's just adamantine. That's fucking awesome. It is kind of impressive that the fort is going so well without management. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of this stuff here. So we come down several levels here. So it kind of opens up into a conical ceiling. Engraved on the wall is a masterfully designed image of dwarves by Besmar Zainegmazum. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork relates to the foundation of Dellwork by the Die of Enchanters of the Diamond Axe in the early spring of 116. The appointment of the dwarf Obak Machine Mark to the position of militia commander of the Die of Enchanters in 117. Interesting. Engraved on the wall is a superiorly designed image of Zan Channeled Grasps, the dwarf, and a diorite earring. Zan is raising the diorite earring. The artwork relates to the masterful diorite earring created by the dwarf Zan. What are these creature-looking ones? Engraved on the wall is a finely designed image of Sibrek Fondeltongs. That's a last name for you. And a Flame Wraith by Led Alterdesis. The Flame Wraith is striking down Sibrek Fondeltongs. The artwork relates to the killing of the dwarf Sibrek Fondeltongs by a Flame Wraith in Obscure Wire in the Invisible Spikes in the midwinter of 56. We go a little further. Let's take a look at some of these interesting looking ones. A silver barb, image of a silver barb. Yes, this is an image relating to the appointment of Obak Machine Mark to the position of Militia Commander once again. Well, this really is a history of the fortress. I'm totally opening this lever. I'm gonna do it. Wait, that one's off? Why is this one? How is this one off? I don't know. I'm gonna pull them both. Pull the lever. Pull the lever. We got a lot of lever pullers, so this should not take long. Let the chaos begin. Get the other lever. Yes, you did it. Oh, God. The lever has been pulled for 2 seconds. There's only one floodgate open. This is all 7 out of 7 water. It's just rushed through this. This is all 7 out of 7. All right. Here we go. We're going to unpause again. We still have 2 levels of water. We're going to fill this entire level. This is a death trap. Could you imagine if a dwarf went on like a tantrum? Will a dwarf break a floodgate? Good God. It's a massacre. It's all right. Well, I think that's just what's going to happen. Those dwarves over there are probably going to drown, and then water source vanished. I've got a new water source for you. Don't worry about that. But yeah, ignoring that totally intentional disaster. I think this fort has a very artistic design, and I like that about it. I like the ceiling that slopes down. So the fort's only 5 years old. That explains a lot of this. No, it's 7 years old now. That explains a lot. This is a very ambitious fort that took on a lot of mining right off the bat, and it will probably be much more organized. Oh, what is this? Is this a dorm? Why are these installed? Yes, this is indeed a dormitory. Well, if you're looking for space efficiency, this is where it's at. But it's kind of like if you had a bunch of kids in a gymnasium during a school disaster and it was just beds in the gymnasium, they would be this. And that is what? What are you, what? Why is there a bone carver in the river? Right. And that is Dellwork, a very ambitious fort that clearly is still in the process of filling out its industries and whatnot. And that was Dellwork. Thank you to Ergotofwhy for submitting this fortress. If you'd like to submit your own, there are instructions in the description below. There is also a link to the album used in this video, which if you'd like to support the artist of, you can buy that album for about the cost of a Taco Bell box plus tax. And of course, thank you to Bay 12 Games for creating Dwarf Fortress and making all of this possible. Now, before I say my final goodbye, I'd like you guys to comment below about the idea of making an arbitrary and totally non-serious ranking system for these forts, where I might give a rating about different aspects of the fort. For example, the health or mood of the dwarves, the productivity, the management, etc. Just an idea that popped into my head literally 5 minutes prior to recording this, but I'm not sure if that's something that the community would appreciate. So let me know. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.